You walk out one morning and the coop door is hanging open, feathers everywhere, half your flock gone. Or you check the garden and your sweet corn is demolished, stalks snapped, ears stripped clean. I've been there more times than I care to admit, and I'm telling you, that sick feeling in your gut never gets easier. Losing animals or crops overnight to predators is one of the most frustrating parts of this life. But here's the thing, most of those losses are preventable. Today I'm going to walk you through a complete, layered system for protecting everything you've got on your property. Physical barriers, guardian animals, habitat changes, deterrents, daily habits, all of it. Stuff that actually works on a real farm, not just in theory. Stick with me and you'll leave here with a plan you can start putting in place today. Let's start by knowing your enemy, because you can't protect against what you don't understand. On the livestock side, the big threats most of us deal with are coyotes, foxes, raccoons, opossums, weasels, mink, hawks, owls, and depending on where you live, bobcats, bears, mountain lions, and feral dogs. Every single one of those animals is smart, patient, and motivated. They're not lazy. A coyote will test your fence for weeks before it finds the weak spot. A weasel will squeeze through a hole the size of a quarter. A raccoon will work a latch until it figures it out. These are not dumb animals wandering into your yard by accident. They are hunters doing exactly what nature built them to do. Your job is to make your place harder than the next farm down the road. On the crop side, your main troublemakers are deer, rabbits, groundhogs, raccoons, birds, and rodents like voles and mice. Deer will clear a garden overnight. Raccoons will trash your corn the night before you plan to pick it, every single time, it seems like. Birds will peck your berries and tomatoes clean. Rodents will work underground and take out root crops before you even know they're there. The damage from crop predators might not be as heartbreaking as losing a chicken or a lamb, but it adds up fast and it'll wear you down season after season. We'll get to crops in detail a bit later, but first, let's talk about the foundation of any solid predator protection plan, and that's your physical barriers. Get this wrong and nothing else matters. Physical barriers are your first and most important line of defense. Everything else is secondary. If your fencing isn't right, you're just wasting time and money on everything else. For poultry, chickens, ducks, turkeys, you need a fully enclosed run, not just a fence around the outside. I mean a roof over it too. Hawks and owls don't care about your side walls. And if you've got climbers like raccoons, a fence with no top is an open invitation. Use hardware cloth, not chicken wire. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see new folks make. Chicken wire keeps chickens in. It does not keep predators out. A raccoon will tear right through it. Hardware cloth, the half-inch or quarter-inch welded wire, that is your material. Yes, it costs more, but you're buying it once. Run it on the sides over the top and bury it at least 12 inches underground at the base, bent outward in an L shape. That stops diggers cold. Foxes and coyotes will dig straight down along a fence line all night if they think there's a meal on the other side. That buried apron takes that option right off the table. For the coop itself, make sure every single vent, window, and opening is covered in hardware cloth. Check your latches. Raccoons are shockingly good with their hands. Use carabiner clips or padlock hasps on any door you want to stay shut. I switched all my coop latches over 15 years ago after one particularly bad raccoon night, and I haven't had a breach since. For larger livestock, cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, your fencing game looks different, but the principles are the same. You want a fence that stops entry, not just marks a boundary. For coyotes and dogs, a good 5 to 6 strand high-tensile electric fence does the job. You want the bottom strand low to the ground, 8 to 10 inches, so nothing crawls under. Add a strand at the top angled outward at about 45 degrees if you're in heavy coyote country. That outward angle makes climbing over almost impossible. The key to electric fence is keeping it hot. Vegetation growing up into the lower strands will bleed off your charge, and you'll end up with a fence that ticks but doesn't bite. Walk your fence lines regularly and keep that grass knocked back. Now let me talk about something that I believe every farm should have at some level, and that's guardian animals. A good guardian animal changes the whole equation. You shift from passive protection to active protection. The predators aren't just encountering a barrier, they're encountering something that will challenge them, chase them, and make them feel unwelcome. The three main options most of us work with are livestock guardian dogs, donkeys, and llamas. Each one has its strengths and its limitations, and I want to be honest with you about all of it. Livestock guardian dogs are the gold standard for serious predator pressure. Breeds like Great Pyrenees, Anatolian Shepherd, Kangal, Akbash. These dogs have been bred for thousands of years to do exactly one thing: guard livestock. A good LGD bonds to its animals, patrols the perimeter, and puts itself between the flock and anything that wants to harm it. I've had Great Pyrenees for over 2 decades. They have stopped coyotes, foxes, and even a bear from getting into my sheep pen. But here's what I want you to know going in: these dogs are not easy. They are independent, stubborn, vocal at night. Get a poorly raised LGD, and you might end up with a dog that kills your chickens. Get a well-bred, properly raised one, and it is worth its weight in gold. Don't make this mistake. Don't just go buy any big dog and throw it in with your animals. Do your homework. Get from a reputable working farm that actually uses the dogs for livestock protection. Expect to spend time training and bonding the dog with your specific animals, and expect a learning curve, especially in the first year. But once that dog is settled and working, you'll wonder how you ever managed without it. One of the best investments I ever made on this farm. 2 dogs working together is even better. They cover more ground and back each other up. If you run poultry on pasture, a good LGD patrolling that area will cut your aerial and ground predator losses dramatically. Now donkeys get overlooked a lot, and I think that's a shame. A good guard donkey is one of the most cost-effective predator deterrents you can have for sheep and goat operations. Donkeys have a natural, deep hatred of canines. They will bray loudly, chase, and stomp coyotes and feral dogs. I've watched a Jenny chase a coyote clean out of a pasture. They're easy to keep. They eat what your other livestock eat. They don't need special training. Just get a standard or large standard donkey, not a miniature. 1 donkey per small to medium-sized flock. Keep the donkey bonded with the animals it's guarding, not separated. And note, donkeys don't do well with dogs in general, so if you run LGDs, mixing them with donkeys takes careful management. Llamas are another solid option, especially for smaller operations. Similar concept to donkeys, they alert, spit, kick, and will charge canid predators. They tend to bond tightly with sheep and goats. 1 gelded male llama per flock is typically the recommendation. They're calm to handle, don't need a lot of special care. And their alerting behavior alone, that loud alarm call, can be enough to scatter predators and wake you up at night. Like donkeys, don't expect them to handle large predators like bears or mountain lions. For coyotes, foxes, and feral dogs, though, they're genuinely effective. Think of your guardian animals as your security team. Let's talk about habitat management, because this one gets ignored a lot, and it's a mistake. What your property looks like matters. Predators don't just show up randomly. They follow cover, food, and opportunity. If you've got tall grass, brush piles, and junk equipment piled up along your fence lines, you're basically building a highway for predators. Keep the areas around your coops, pens, and pastures mowed and clear. Remove brush piles. Clean up any debris where rodents can nest, because where there are rodents, there are the predators that eat them. A clean, open buffer zone around your livestock areas forces predators to cross open ground, which they don't like to do. That exposure alone deters a lot of casual opportunists. Light is your friend at night. Motion-activated lights around the coop and barn are cheap and effective, not because they hurt predators, but because predators are naturally cautious. A sudden flood of light in their face will send most of them running, at least the first few times. Solar-powered motion lights are great because you can put them anywhere without worrying about running power. Sound deterrents are worth mentioning too. Predator calls played back, or even just a radio left on in the barn, can discourage animals from getting comfortable near your livestock. The idea is that human voice and activity signals danger to most wild predators. It's not foolproof. A bold coyote or a hungry bear won't care much, but it adds another layer of discomfort for animals scoping out your place. Now let's talk about smell deterrents. Predator urine, coyote urine, wolf urine, bear urine, applied around the perimeter of your coops and pastures can signal to smaller predators that something bigger and meaner is already claiming that territory. You can buy it at most farm supply stores. Apply it along fence posts, at corners, and at entry points. Reapply after rain. It works reasonably well for foxes, raccoons, and small canids. Same principle applies to human hair from barber shops or human urine spread around the perimeter. Old-timers have used that trick forever, and there's something to it. Let me be straight with you about something important. No matter what you do, you will have losses. That's the honest truth of it. A motivated, hungry predator, especially one that has already found food at your place, will keep coming back and will eventually find a way if you give it enough time. Your goal is not zero losses forever. Your goal is to make your place difficult enough that predators move on to easier targets and to cut your losses way down. 90% reduction is a realistic and worthy goal. 100% is a fantasy. Anyone who tells you otherwise hasn't farmed long enough. Set your expectations right, keep improving your systems, and accept that this is an ongoing process, not a one-time fix. Let's get into some predator-specific strategies, because different animals require different approaches. Coyotes are probably the #1 threat for most of us in North America. They're smart, adaptive, and they work in pairs and packs. Electric fencing, LGDs, and removing brush cover are your best tools against coyotes. Coyotes are bold. They'll come in the daytime if they're comfortable enough. If you're losing animals to coyotes, the first thing to check is whether your fencing has a hot bottom wire. Most coyote entries are low, under or through, not over. Fix the bottom of your fence first. Secondly, if you don't have a guardian dog, get one. Coyotes will work around passive barriers, but they genuinely respect and fear a working LGD. Foxes are more sneaky than bold. They tend to work at dawn and dusk, they're quick, and they can squeeze through surprisingly small gaps. They're especially dangerous to poultry. Hardware cloth with small openings stops them. Check every possible entry point around your coop at ground level. A fox will find the one spot you missed. For free-range poultry, a guardian dog, or even a flock of properly managed guinea fowl, which are loud and alert to anything moving, can give you an early warning system. Guineas are basically living alarm systems, annoying as all get out but effective. Raccoons, as I mentioned, are persistent and dexterous. They'll unscrew things, lift latches, pull wire apart. Eliminate their ability to grab and manipulate by using locks they can't work with paws. Raccoons are also dangerous because they carry diseases, distemper and raccoon roundworm especially, that can wipe out a flock even without killing them outright. Keep feed locked up and inaccessible because open feed is the #1 attractant. If raccoons don't have a food source near your property, they have less reason to hang around and test your defenses. Weasels, mink, and stoats are the predators people underestimate the most. These animals are tiny and absolutely vicious. A single weasel can kill every bird in a coop in one night. They can get through a hole the size of a nickel. If you find your birds killed but not eaten much, with bites to the back of the skull or neck, weasel or mink is almost certainly your culprit. The only real solution is hardware cloth with quarter-inch openings or smaller on every single penetration in your coop. No gaps, no exceptions. Check around pipe entries, vent covers every corner. These animals don't give you second chances. Birds of prey, hawks and owls, are a different challenge because they're protected under federal law in the United States. You cannot kill them, period. But you can make your property less appealing and harder to work. Cover your runs, obviously. For free-range birds, provide plenty of cover, brush piles, low shrubs, overhangs, where they can duck under when a hawk comes over. Roosters are also valuable here. A good rooster watches the sky and gives alarm calls the whole flock responds to. Reflective tape, old CDs hung on strings, or predator eye balloons near your range area can discourage hawks from making repeated passes. They work best when moved around regularly, so the birds don't get used to them. Bears are their own category entirely. If you're in bear country, you already know the level of determination these animals bring. An electric fence is your primary tool, but it needs to be a serious setup. Minimum 5 strands with the top strand at 50 to 60 inches. Bait the fence with peanut butter on tin foil around the top strand. When the bear licks it and hits the wire, it gets a shock on the sensitive nose and mouth. Remove any and all attractants. Don't store garbage, feed, or compost anywhere bears can smell it. A fed bear is a dead bear eventually, so do the right thing and eliminate the attraction before you even think about other deterrents. Let's shift over to crops now because that side of the equation deserves real attention too. And a lot of the same principles apply: layers, barriers, and making your place harder than the alternative. Deer are probably your biggest crop threat in most of the country. A single deer can devastate a garden overnight. The only reliable barrier against deer is an 8-foot fence or a properly designed double fence. 2 shorter fences spaced 4 to 5 feet apart. Deer can jump high or wide, but not both at the same time. A 6-foot outer fence with a 4-foot inner fence, 4 feet, inside it creates a barrier most deer won't attempt. Motion-activated sprinklers work surprisingly well too. Deer hate getting hit with water unexpectedly, and you can place them right in the garden perimeter. Rabbits are a different challenge. They go under, not over. A 2-foot wire fence with 12 inches buried underground and bent outward is your baseline. Make sure the wire has openings no bigger than 1 inch. Rabbits are creatures of habit. They use the same runs day after day. If you can identify those runs, you can focus your barriers at those specific spots. Repellents made with predator urine, hot pepper, or blood meal sprinkled around the garden edge work with some degree of reliability between rain events, and they're worth using as a supplement to physical barriers. Groundhogs, woodchucks are underestimated destroyers. One family of groundhogs can level a garden. They dig, they eat, and they reproduce fast. Fencing needs to go down at least 2 feet underground and bend outward to stop them. Trapping and relocating works, but you need to move them a good distance away, several miles at minimum, or they find their way back. Some folks have great success with electric fencing close to the ground, 2 strands, one at about 4 inches and one at about 8 inches, wired hot. Groundhogs will touch it sniffing around, and 1 or 2 experiences is usually enough to redirect them. Raccoons in the garden, especially in your corn, are a frustrating problem. They seem to know exactly when your corn is 1 day from peak sweetness. Electric fencing works excellently here. A single-strand electrified wire at about 8 inches off the ground around your corn patch is simple, cheap, and highly effective. Raccoons will reach under or touch the wire, and that's all it takes. Birds, especially starlings, blackbirds, and crows, can be a serious problem for small fruits, berries, and even transplants. Netting is the most reliable physical barrier. Drape bird netting right over your berry bushes or strawberry beds. It's lightweight and inexpensive. Make sure it's secured at the ground level or birds will just walk under it. Reflective bird tape strung between posts or spinning pinwheels can deter birds in open areas like corn patches and bean rows. Move them regularly because birds are observant and will stop reacting to stationary decoys within a few days. Rodents in the garden, voles, mice, moles, work underground and they are sneaky. Voles will tunnel right to the base of a plant and eat the root system while the top of the plant looks fine until it just falls over one day. Hardware cloth buried under raised beds and around tree and shrub plantings gives you physical protection. Trapping works, but it's ongoing. You kill 10 and 20 move in if the habitat supports them. Remove the habitat first. Tall grass, deep mulch right against structure walls, brush piles. These are vole condominiums. Keep mulch a few inches back from plant stems and mow tight around your beds. Cats, barn cats specifically, are genuinely excellent for rodent control in and around the garden. Don't overlook the oldest farm tool there is. Now let me talk about the daily habits piece, because this is where most people fall short. You can have the best fencing in the county and a guardian dog that would fight a grizzly, and you'll still have problems if your daily habits are sloppy. Lock your animals up every single night without exception. Not most nights, every night. I don't care if you're tired, if it's raining, if it's late. If your birds free range, they need to be in a secure coop by dark. Most predator attacks happen at night or in that low-light window at dawn and dusk. Get those animals in before dark and your losses drop dramatically right there. Do a morning walk every day. Check your perimeter. Look for signs of digging, tracks, torn wire, droppings. A predator that tested your fence last night left evidence. Find it before it finds a way in. Check that your electric fence is still hot. Throw a blade of grass on it and see if it ticks. Check your water and that your animals are all present and accounted for. You'll know your animals. Notice if one is missing early and you might save it. Early discovery matters. Many animals that have been attacked survive if you find them and treat them fast. Don't leave feed out overnight. Ever. Feed stored in open containers, scattered on the ground, left in the run. That is a welcome mat for every predator in a mile radius. Store feed in metal bins with locking lids. Clean up spilled feed daily. Remove water from the coop area at night if possible. Standing water at night is also an attractant. These seem like small things, but they compound over time. A clean, tight farm operation sends a signal to the predator community that there's nothing easy here. A sloppy one sends the opposite signal, and word travels fast in the animal world. Keep records of your losses. Write down what happened when, what you think the predator was based on evidence, and what the entry point was. Over a season, you'll start to see patterns. Maybe you're always losing birds on Tuesday mornings. That might mean a particular animal has you worked into its weekly route. Maybe losses always happen near the east fence. There's your weak point. Patterns tell you where to focus your energy and money. Don't just react to each loss in isolation. Look at the trend and fix the systemic problem. Let's talk briefly about what to do when prevention hasn't been enough and you've got a predator that keeps coming back. Once an animal has successfully gotten food from your place, it's much harder to deter. It knows the reward is real. At that point, your options are trapping and relocating, hunting within legal regulations, or reaching out to your local wildlife agency for assistance. Check your state laws carefully. Regulations on trapping and hunting vary significantly. Your local agricultural extension office is a great free resource for predator-specific advice, and sometimes has loan programs for traps. Lethal control, where it's legal, is sometimes the only real solution for a problem animal. particularly a habituated coyote or a repeat offender raccoon or fox. A coyote that has learned your place as a buffet will not unlearn that. Relocation of coyotes especially rarely works. Their home range is huge and they find their way back. If not, work with a licensed wildlife removal professional. Don't let one problem animal bleed you for an entire season because you kept hopping it would stop on its own. I want to end with the big picture. There is no single silver bullet, not the best fence, not the best dog, not the best light or deterrent spray or trap. The farms that consistently lose the least are the farms that layer their protection. Barrier plus guardian animal plus habitat management plus deterrence plus tight daily habits. Every layer you add makes your place harder. Every hard place sends predators to easier places. Build enough layers and the math works in your favor. Not perfect, but way better than doing one or two things and hopping for the best. And here's the thing I want you to take away from all of this: start where you are. If you can only fix the coop latches this week, fix the latches. If you can only add one hot wire strand to your fence this month, add it. If you can only get one LGD this year, get one. Predator protection is a building process. You don't have to do it all at once. Just keep moving the needle in the right direction every season. And you'll get to a place where losses are the exception, not the rule. That's the goal. Fewer losses, less heartache, more thriving animals and crops. That's why we do all this. Now I want to hear from you. What predator is giving you the most trouble right now? Drop it in the comments. Is it coyotes? Raccoons? Deer wiping out your garden? Let me know and I'll address it directly in a future video. If this helped you today, hit that like button. It helps other farmers find this channel. And if you want more practical, no fluff farm advice every week, subscribe to FarmBitly and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next.